Hey guys, this is my weekly update. This week I wanted to get a little bit more intimate. My life has completely turned multiple times, and so I want to give you guys kind of the timeline of that, and then also be able to inform you 3 ways that you can change your life as well. So I guess a really quick rundown of the first phase of my life. I went to school in a small Montana town and was really focused on basketball for a while until high school, when my basketball coach forced me to do track and field, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do track. So ended up doing it. I did pole vault and was a 2-time state champ in pole vault and hold the school record there, and that ended up forming into my life as you guys know it. I decided to take the first offer, which was in North Dakota, and I went to the University of Mary for 1 year, and honestly, this was the first big change of my life. I had gone from being in high school and working full-time, training as a track athlete, and then going to school, to having just so much more freedom. And I feel like a lot of people experience that right after turning 18. You have all of this freedom and you start making decisions based on what you think feels good rather than what's going to set you up for success. So I did that my first year. I was a literal wild child freshman in college doing whatever the heck she wanted to do, and literally 3 months into that I realized holy crap, this is not who I want to be. 3 months in, I was looking at other colleges to go to, and I ended up visiting Azusa Pacific University during my spring break of that first year. So it was very soon that I didn't want to be there, and very soon that I knew I needed to make changes. I ended up financially being screwed over, but when I called up the coach at APU, I finally asked him if there was any money, and that was then turned into my financial support, and it all worked out. So first big change was realizing that the situation and the place that I was in was not for me, and what I did to change that was physically move. It was the best thing I could have ever done. I removed myself from people who had certain expectations and thoughts about me, and I went to a place where no one knew who I was, and I could completely remake myself. Honestly, best thing you can do if you can make it work. Now, next phase of my life. I'm in California, but I didn't know anything about it. I had no idea that I had family literally 20 minutes from the university that I was going to. Okay, this was a God thing. And Azusa Pacific University is a private Christian university. And so I literally was being put into Bible classes. I had to go to 3 chapels a week. And then I was also going to a church, Hillside Community Church. I'll put them right here. They're literally still my favorite church. I just really felt like I was brought to APU because God knew that I had a bigger purpose. So not only did I physically change locations, but I dedicated my life to God. And that is the second, and honestly, probably the first thing that you should do is just dedicate your life to God, because God can give you so much purpose. God creates each and every one of us unique so that we can live our lives uniquely from each other and with each other. It was just amazing that I was in this community of people who were living for God, and that gave me purpose. I didn't have to go out and drink and party and hang out with guys to feel good about myself, because I knew that God loved me, and that was all I needed. Now, during this time that I was in California, still a lot happened, and I'm gonna brush by some of it. COVID happened. I moved back to Montana, and some crazy crap happened over COVID. I ended up dropping out of school. I had a crazy relationship situation, and I thought I would never do track ever again or even get a college degree. But things flipped around, and I was asked by my coach to come back in March. So I wasn't training that entire time, and I came back. I remember I was at the Brian Clay Invitational after COVID. I believe it was the year of 2021. And I was jogging around the track, remembering what had happened over the last year while I was in Montana, and it was the season of COVID, and I was in this crazy relationship, and I just started crying. And again, I just thanked God so much for the places that He's put me in. I was just so thankful to be back on the track. I mean, I thought that had completely ended for me. I thought that I would, again, not get a degree, that I would not be able to do track, and yet there I was, jogging around the track, getting ready to qualify for my first national championship. But then I had this other moment, which is gonna be my third guiding tip for you guys. I had basically hit what I would call overtraining. I had trained so hard. I was literally training for 4 to 6 hours every single day for track. I was working 2 jobs, one at the school and also one off of campus as a trainer. And then I was in school, so I was taking like between 12 and 18 credits constantly. So I just had a really busy life, and I was starting to contemplate like why I was doing any of this, really. I mean, remember back to my first part of the video, like, I played basketball. I was forced to do track. I didn't want to do track, and here I was in college doing track, and I was getting better every year, but my better never felt good enough. And so I started to think that maybe I'm not even doing what I want, and maybe I'm just doing this to please other people. I ended up finishing out my collegiate career as an 8-time All-American in javelin and in the heptathlon and in the pentathlon. I was successful. I got 2 degrees. I got a bachelor's of science in kinesiology, and I also got a master's of arts in user and experience design. Yet, I was so sad. I was so depressed. I graduated and had no idea what I wanted to do. I could keep doing track, but did I really even love track? And I could go and become this marketer, but I only did the marketing degree so that I could keep doing track. It's like I had no idea where I was or what I was doing. And that's when this third point comes up. You have to live for your own passions. I ended up taking a work hiatus because I actually had to get surgery. So I just had time to rest and think. And I know that is in sorts a luxury, but for me, it was a living hell. I had to sit with my thoughts. I had to think about what my next step was, knowing that I couldn't take a step in that moment. Every day, I wrote on my whiteboard things that I thought made me happy that had nothing to do with what other people thought. And eventually, I realized that my lifelong dream was to be a wife, a mother, and be nurturing to other people. And of course, that is found in a profession such as exercise science, where I can be a personal trainer or a physical therapist or an athletic trainer, right? But that's not what I saw when I closed my eyes. That's not what I heard when I talked to God. So, again, to the first step, I changed physical locations. I moved literally from the West Coast in California to the East Coast in Pennsylvania. My family and my friends thought that I was absolutely crazy, but I knew that I had to stop listening to other people if I wanted to truly be happy. I knew what my dreams were, I knew what my passions were, and I knew that moving across the entire country was exactly what I needed. And now I am happier than I have ever been. Every day, I feel like I'm living out my purpose. I'm starting to get integrated into the little town that we're in. The community is just incredible, and I enjoy everything that I do, whether it's cleaning the house or cooking meals or going on a walk around town or doing my track training or making these videos. I'm happy. When I look back across my entire life, the 3 biggest things that created change and happiness was changing physical location, placing my purpose in God's purpose for me, and not living for other people, but making sure that I was happy in what I was doing. So I hope that this video helped you guys and you're ready for something great. I know it. I'll see you guys next week. So this was like the start of my true like NCAA success.